The first film ever I made with Macromedia Flash MX can be viewed and heard larger and clearer in the 2003 800 by 600 pixel loopily looping original. Here, please click to go to Flash in the Pan Indian sub-incontinent. However, that's on a loop and a good Jekyll and hiding to nothing, so you'll probably want to vacate with Vitesse, or peep, at the high quality, as of August 2009, YouTube version with all its handy-dandy stop all the dancing controls. The Kama Sutra song, this mildly cheeky nudity, is too oblique to pretend it could contend to offend, unless Kermit.
This is Kermit the Angry Frog, and would you like to know why I'm angry? I will tell you why I'm angry.
That's all the time we have today for Kermit the Frog.
Will not permit polypositional performance. The words were animated in Swish Max before being imported into Flash MX. Their font is squarely and the vocal squealy, so here are the lyrics, laid bare. With a single scene view permanently populated by a mainly muted cast of at least 11 probable outcasts, swiftly dominated by and distracted from by overlaid if underpaid base block-based fizzly-twizzly textual trapezery, some summary freeze frames are in order to ID the VIP passers-by, without my shouting, "Red carpet!" at the appropriate moment. And at you might acknowledge the arrival of the king, and exactly which kinky, crinkly king he was, may influence how hoppily or happily you bow down, mister, to trill and thrill at his second coming. Is it jeers or 3 cheers for Piers and his peers? Peopled by shepherds, temple worshippers, and the washing yet unwashed, this static background is Pierre Patel's Landscape with Ruins, not to be confused with Pierre Patel's Landscape with Ruins, which may be a rear view, if not a rare view, of a lone merely mildly mirrored locale. Both of these same-named pictures share very similar compositional content, i.e., some decrepit classical architecture plop-dropped into a bucolic bridge-breach bog. Such elements are evident also in 1656's Italianate landscape and 1697's A Classical Landscape. The late date of the final work draws attention to the additional fact that Pierre Patel Sr. could go forth and multiply more than paintings. Pierre Patel is not to be confused with Pierre-Antoine Patel. I wonder if he was confused by him. Perhaps, if so, his supposed son asked him to step aside. But not to step in anything left timely behind the behinds of the more than 4 four-footed wading and drinking critters. In the oval picture, the ovine have been surpassed by the divine bovine, sacred cows, as at home in the loam of the Ganges, as roaming in the Roman gloamin, whilst as full of bull as Europe's Europa. Let us cross species and continents to mix mythologies, meeting from left to right, all a quiver, if not all a shiver, where we might seek, if not seek, Shiva, the infecting infant Cupid. Next, his mother, Venus, not bulking at Björk as a boy. but skillfully strumming her lute, for lute as a keener, not keening, vina player. Then a true hanger-on, a performer of the Indian rope trick, a tabla-tapping percussive primate, a woman with a wheelbarrow, and 2 clever cleaver-wielders. Chipper chirpy chappies with their swish Swiss cheesy non-chomping choppers out. The first written line, "He says he's got no future," is twisted and illustrated by 2 plotted lines from a financial futures graph. The text speaks of insecurity. The image represents what are known, highly questionably, as securities. Listen, if you please, to the T's in insecurities. Although the firing toddler may not agree that it is generally difficult to make out, it is definitely hard to make out his narrow arrow as its heart-crafted shaft heads for the dread undead head, undead ahead. There are multiple meanings for shot his bolt. Visually, Cupid has shot his bolt by releasing a dart of desire. Having successfully targeted and struck the metal that is presumably as much of a pain in the neck to Frankenstein's monster as any vampire could be counted upon to be, Cupid, or Cupid's arrow, has also struck that glinting throat-lodged rod and therefore shot his bolt. Textually, the straight narrative, he says he's got no future, he says he's shot his bolt, details a character in no specified circumstance, giving into despair, having given his all. Sexually, come, obviously in a carnal context, the gentleman related is incapable of being fashionably late. She, introduced in a later stanza, can't come to when he can't come to because he came to swoon when he came too soon. He came, swore when he saw he was sore, and conked out. Nothing like Concord, and no sign of Barry Marsh Manilow. Is it a slut slit slotted behind a manky monkey, or is his fault not premature ejaculation, but a Californian geographical feature? Red carpet! This is the red carpet moment, as the mystery monarch emerges from the murk, a murkinless merman, as far as we can tell. Our HRH is King Edward II, not the spuddy-buddy uber-tuber ruler. That was King Edward VII, a much, much later successor, for whom the royal flush of poker playing was not to extend from strip to rip. The earliest 20th century Ted was given his head and made no amends for sticky ends, whilst his Plantagenet forebear, deemed to be as much of a bender as his sceptre becomes when he prods the Indian rope trick adept above, was not redeemed, but manually dispatched as unmanly in the most horrifically inhumane manner. Was the first Prince of Wales the last Prince of Wales? Or was his sorry end a rumour mongered by my low-life mongrels? The police box as TARDIS, it's never tardy but ever tidy, references Doctor Who as the who's who. Woohoo! If not woo-hoo. There is levity in gravity's discovery being indicated by a defiant fruit, fresh from bonking the bonts of Sir Isaac Newton. Someone who has been made to do it in his pants, main reference to GBPE, rather than pee-poo, peekaboo, or things that are more taboo than goo in the loo, or your bind vindaloo, carries favour for favours, and bends over backwards to suit the suitor who likes it upside down. Further euphemisms abound. The apple we recently encountered as a tempting foodstuff linking Newton to Eden has been caught by a lady gardener in the scarlet wheelbarrow that she loves to handle the love handlers of. This rudely ruddy receptacle alludes not only to her vagina, but also to the sort of inverted, if not introverted, coital position that might meet with her well-met meat's approval. I've said nothing overt about fingering, cheese, or if green designates any of or only garments, envy, neophytism, or haughty horticulture. Statler is overt with his statement.
It's over!
Triggering a laden pun at its over-punning visual gag, as bad and whiskey as any barrel-scraping hokey-pokey yoke joke. When Americans ask for their eggs to be over easy, are they just chortling about saying over easy?
Well, you didn't miss much.
Statler continues to grouse, suggesting that it was the layings of that famous bird that were all in the one basket case we just espied being tossed. This explains the whiskiness, and why a roller skating unicorn would be no cause for comment. Just as the TARDIS hurtled into outer space, a doghouse is gifted in return to the Earth from the universe. The disembodied lungs indicate that the space for a cough there is space for a kennel cough. Sounds a bit like rock off. So if you're off your rocker and can't get your rocks off, rock off, gibbering Gibraltar. Production period main memories. General excitement about new software and audio-visual synchronization. Might have made it. Alan Titchmarsh. Bungee jumping. Mechanical cranes. Rulers. Sheep. The Phoenix. Weightlifters. William Tell. And Zeus. He's not a doctor.